Mountains seem eternal, towering above the clouds and our ambitions, but beneath their silent peaks, a race is on, as technology, crowds, and climate are rewriting the meaning of going higher. The real cost of climbing isn't at the summit. It is at the edge where risk, triumph, and tragedy meet. What price are we willing to pay to stay above the margin? In the summer of 1786, Jacques Balmat and Michel Gabriel Picard reached the summit of Mont Blanc, the highest peak in the Alps. Their climb was a leap into the unknown. No maps, no established routes, just determination and the promise of a reward offered by Horace Benedict de Saussure. The tools were simple: heavy wool clothing, wooden staffs, and axes for cutting hundreds of steps into the ice. Yet what truly set this ascent apart was not the gear, but the mindset. For centuries, mountains had been seen as barriers or sacred places, best left untouched. Now they became destinations, challenges to be measured and overcome. By the mid-1800s, this new curiosity had spread. In 1857, British climbers formed the Alpine Club in London, the world's first mountaineering club. What began as individual ambition transformed into organized pursuit. Club members shared knowledge, planned expeditions, and set their sights on unclimbed peaks across the Alps. Climbing was no longer just about reaching a summit. It became a way to test human limits, to collect scientific data, and to claim national prestige. The mountains drew people not only for their danger, but for the promise that with enough skill and will, even the highest summits could be reached. Edward Whymper's team stood on the summit of the Matterhorn in July 1865, only to watch triumph unravel into disaster. 4 men, roped together on the descent, slipped and fell to their deaths. They were victims of a single misstep and the limits of hemp rope. The story of the Matterhorn was not just about reaching a new height, but about the irreversible cost that ambition could exact. The image of climbers risking everything for a summit became a warning as much as an inspiration. In the decades that followed, the idea of what was possible kept expanding. The Alps no longer satisfied the hunger for altitude. Planners and climbers set their sights on the world's highest mountains, remote, barely mapped, and far beyond the reach of most. Expeditions to the Himalaya and Karakoram demanded years of preparation, political negotiation, and resources on a national scale. Success was measured in decades, not seasons. When Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay reached the summit of Everest in 1953, it was the result of 30 years of failed attempts, lost lives, and the invention of new techniques just to survive. The pursuit of the highest peaks had become a collective undertaking, with ambition and sacrifice tightly intertwined. Fixed ropes now run the length of the world's most popular high-altitude routes, hammered into rock and ice by teams of guides before most climbers even arrive at base camp. Satellite weather forecasts pinpoint the best summit windows, shrinking the margin of uncertainty to a handful of hours. Lightweight synthetic jackets and boots, designed for temperatures far below freezing, replace the wool and leather of earlier generations. Each piece is engineered to shave ounces and hold warmth. Bottled oxygen, once an experiment, is now stacked in caches along the route, allowing climbers to push higher and stay longer than their bodies could on their own. Guides manage logistics like air traffic controllers, scheduling ascents with spreadsheets and radio check-ins. The result is a climbing season that runs with the precision of a train timetable. On Everest, more than 600 summits are logged in a single year, a number that would have been unimaginable just decades ago. What was once a gamble on the unknown has become, for many, a matter of planning and execution. Above 8,000 meters, the rules change. The air thins to a third of what it is at sea level, and every step demands more from the body than most people can imagine. In this zone, climbers are not just battling the mountain, they are fighting their own physiology. Muscles weaken, judgment blurs, and the clock starts ticking. When hundreds of climbers converge on a narrow route, the risk multiplies. Lines form along fixed ropes, each person forced to wait as the body's reserves drain away. A single delay can cascade through the entire queue, leaving dozens stranded in the death zone for hours longer than planned. Despite modern gear and improved weather forecasts, the margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. Rescue operations rarely reach above 7,000 meters, and helicopters cannot hover where the air is so thin. Above that, survival depends on moving under your own power. More than 330 climbers have died on Everest since records began. While the chance of dying per climber has dropped, the sheer number of people now means that more lives are lost in absolute terms. In the death zone, progress is measured not by technology, but by the limits of the human body. Glaciers that once anchored the high roads of the Himalaya are melting at a pace that outstrips memory and record. Some studies warn that up to 1/3 of the region's ice could vanish by the end of this century. Where climbers once trusted decades-old paths across hard blue ice, they now face shifting crevasses, collapsing seracs, and rockfall triggered by thawing permafrost. Each season brings new cracks and unstable ground, erasing the reliability that past generations depended on. As the ice retreats, rock faces once locked in place by cold now loosen and tumble. Routes mapped and memorized become unreliable from one year to the next. Even the Khumbu icefall, long considered a known hazard, grows more unpredictable as the glacier beneath it thins and moves faster. Climbers and guides cannot rely on experience alone. The mountain itself is changing faster than human adaptation allows. Climate is not a distant threat in these places. It is a risk multiplier. The line between calculated danger and chaos grows thinner, shaped by forces that no technology or preparation can fully predict or control. At extreme altitude, the rules are set by biology, not by gear or determination. Above 8,000 meters, the body enters a zone where survival becomes a race against time. Oxygen levels drop to 1/3 of what we breathe at sea level. Muscles waste, judgment dulls, and even the strongest climbers feel their strength evaporate with every step. Dr. Miriam Callahan, a high-altitude physiologist, puts it plainly. Above certain elevations, the body is in a constant state of decline. You are not acclimatizing anymore, you are surviving. The margin for error becomes almost non-existent. No amount of training or technology can change this fact. In the death zone, the body is slowly shutting down, and the only way out is down. The mountain's terms are absolute, and every climber, no matter how prepared, faces the same hard stop. Commercial operators defend their role in the high mountains with a different kind of urgency. For many in Nepal, Pakistan, and South America, guiding climbers is not just a job. It is the economic backbone of entire communities. One expedition leader puts it simply: for our families, the mountain is not a trophy, it is our livelihood. The numbers behind this reality are stark. A seasoned Sherpa guide on Everest can earn $5,000 to $10,000 in a single season, sometimes 5 or 10 times what a year of farming or portering would bring in the Khumbu region. Sirdars, the lead Sherpas, may earn even more, with risk bonuses and tips raising their income to levels that support extended families and pay for children's education. Compared to the $1,500 to $2,000 many locals might make through agriculture in a year, guiding offers a path to stability and opportunity. Yet that stability comes at a cost, measured not only in risk but in the moral calculus of who benefits, who decides, and who pays when things go wrong. The ethical debate is not just about safety or ambition, it is about survival, dignity, and the choices that shape entire communities in the shadow of the world's highest peaks. As glaciers retreat and crowds grow, the margin for error at altitude narrows further each season. What we risk in chasing the summit now reverberates far beyond the peak, shaping economies, ecosystems, and lives. Ultimately, nature, not ambition, sets the highest limit. Share your thoughts